Hello.
Hello.
Give everyone a second. All right. So welcome to the first Stacks of Strange live show. Well, technically like live discussion. We did have like our reading sprints, but this is the first one of 2021. Our first book.
Yay!
So excited.
It was a good book to start with.
The lineup for the next 3 months. I'm so excited about it.
Same.
It really was. It was a good book to start with. Well, who's all here? So Sarah's here. Hi, Sarah. She was here before. Hi.
Hey, Sarah.
Everyone.
Good night. Is that when she's leaving? All right. Host missing. Yeah. We have Deja had a migraine, so she's not, feeling up for lives, which is totally fine because she's like so dedicated to live shows.
Yeah, she's always doing something.
Mm-hmm. And Crystal and Kat were busy. But that's why I was just telling the girls too that it's like nice that we have a big group, because then when that kind of stuff happens, we still have a few of us here. Yeah. I love that we have our big Stacks of Strange group.
I do too. I think it's just going to get better and better.
Yes, it is.
I think so too.
I love it. I love it. A monthly excuse to hang out with you guys. Yeah. Not that I need an excuse, but it's like.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, very. Oh, so much fun. So this month we read Lakewood by Megan Giddings. And I'll let you guys do your introductions and then let us know in the comments as well what you guys like rated the book or what you thought about it. No spoilers just yet. I'll warn you guys before we get into that. But yeah, Carol, I'll let you go first. So like your general thoughts and then what you ended up rating the book.
All right. Sorry if there's some background noise. It'll go away in a minute. But my name is Carol. I read just about everything. My channel is Carol Marie Reads. I like weird books, and I'm really glad, like you were saying, to have this big group of people to get to talk to and in the comments and everything. But as for Lakewood, I was jumping between like a 2.5 and a 3. I'm at a 3 basically right now. And I was kind of waiting to see like what we talk about tonight because I usually sways it a little bit. Yeah. But some books leave questions unanswered and do it well, and some don't do it as well. And I think this one is kind of more on the like not doing it as well side, and that's kind of for my lower rating. But it did make me think a lot, and it did like lead me down a rabbit hole into like all kinds of like race and sex and like medical type of things. Like I was just in the rabbit hole from this book, so I appreciate that. But yeah, so like a 3 out of 5.
I am interested to see where you're going to land after we discuss it. Looks like we already have quite a bit of people talking up in here. So Kelly's here. Hello, Kelly. Jamie gave it 3 stars. Sarah says, Marcy, not to come off as creepy, but I'd love to go book shopping with you sometime. A mask wearing meetup. Do you guys live in the same area?
I don't know. Do we?
I don't know. Sarah, where do you live? I don't even think I ever asked you that before. I don't know. She gave it 3 stars as well. So they're pretty close to your rating, Carol. Amy, what did you think?
So my name is Amy. My channel is Amy Reads. And just to give you, I'm a little stuffy from allergies, so I apologize if you hear me sniffing. I liked this book a lot.
Oh, Georgia.
I gave it a 4. I think it's between a 3 and a 4 for me. I think for the reasons that Carol said of it, all the things it made me think about, all the topics that it made me ponder, made me bump it up a star because I appreciated that, and I'm excited I took notes. Like, I've never taken notes on a Stacks of Strange book before necessarily.
Me neither. And I did too.
I don't really do that I'm doing something this year where I am doing just like a little 1-page mini review of every book I read and keeping it in a little journal. And when I finished Lakewood, it was late at night and I literally was sitting there with my book light and I went and got my book and I just took down like a ton of stuff that was like fresh in my mind. And I watched a couple of reviews specifically from Black reviewers. So it made me think a lot. And I think that made me bump it up. But I think if we're discussing just the book and like the writing, I would probably give it a 3. But it is a debut, and it's definitely something like I will read from Megan Giddings again for sure. I think for a debut, it had me interested in her for sure. So between a 3 and a 4, I wrote down a 4, but
I feel like your thoughts are like my exact same thoughts. Like I
Yeah.
would 4, but I definitely feel as far as the writing, it does make it a little lower for me. But as far as like, the social commentary and everything that it makes you like contemplate and just want to research and
I almost wish it were longer. Because I think it does deal with so many things that could have had a bit more importance placed on them. I feel like they're and we can get into this later, but it does wrap up at the end and throw a lot of things at you. Mm-hmm. And I almost wish we'd had 75 more pages to flesh that out. Mm-hmm. And maybe it would have been like a true 4, just, to have given that a little extra time. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Marcy, what do you
Y'all, why are you laughing?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. I'm Marcy from Marcy Reads. I read everything. Okay, so about the book. I have not finished it. And I'm 60 pages away from finishing, but I'm liking it and I'm leaning so far towards the 3 stars, but I can't say my final thing until I finish the book. So be on the lookout for that.
For sure. So it looks like a 3-star rating is the consensus because like Monica rated it 3. Kelly says 3. Too many unknowns. The premise was great, but it just lacked something. I can't put my finger on it. I feel the same way. I definitely like what Amy was talking about. Sarah said she didn't love the formatting or the storytelling. Deja's here. Hi, Deja. Okay, so it's a 3.5, but my rating always changes after these lives. Yeah. Yes.
I have a feeling that it will make
you're always like hesitant ratings. Like it's like it's not definitive yet. We're just
I feel like every time we talk about one, I like the book more. So I feel like my 4 is going to end up strengthening by the end of the live show, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. That's how I feel too. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna like it even more once we like really dive into it.
Yeah.
Monica said this book felt short in pages, and also I was moved by all the dumb decisions the lead lady did throughout the book. Well, because I mean, in hindsight, we're all like, we're not in the situation that she's in,
right?
So
are they? Yeah, maybe they're dumb, but she's trying to save her mom, or maybe not save her life, but like get her the medical
she needs.
Yeah. And I could see myself making choices that I wouldn't normally want to make, or like in other situations, I would not make those choices.
When you're really like that hard up, like.
Yeah, if it's for like the health and safety of like your one family member that you have. She does seem, and so it does seem kind of like she's making these cavalier decisions, or that she's not fearful enough. Especially at the beginning, I have still been like, what is happening? Like, what's going on? And she seems to be like, takes it in stride, but I guess that's just a reflection of her person. But I could see definitely where you're like, lady, what are you doing? Like, why do you keep why you keep doing this?
There's no like hesitation. Like even if you ended up deciding like, yes, I'm going to do this, it doesn't take very long to
like the money must have been really good for her to like not hesitate at certain things. I don't know.
Yeah. Deja said, I wish Kat was here because she gave it 4.5 stars.
Oh, nice.
Totally, having read it, like this is totally like her type of book, though.
Yeah.
Like, something that even if it wasn't a pick, it would have been a book like on her own free time. Like she would have immediately picked this one up. Like I don't know why, I just felt like it was a Kat book. It was totally a type of book that she would like. I don't know. Hopefully she can like jump in the comments like when we're discussing.
Yeah.
Tell us why she gave it 4.5. They just said, I noticed a lot of white reviewers tend to rate it lower, just an observation.
Yeah.
But anything that I looked into, but I'm curious.
I feel like I don't know if it's because I don't think I ever learned about some of the stuff that I ended up Googling about like in school. Definitely not college or high school, but grade school, like I could have well forgotten that we learned this stuff. But I feel like I might have liked it more if I would have known prior to reading the book about like some of the historical medical experiments on like slaves and things like that. Like what I went into my searching of like, I wonder if I would have liked the book more if I would have known, like there used to be a thought like in the 1800s that they would do experiments and medical studies on slaves because they thought Black people didn't feel pain. And I never knew that. Like, I didn't know people thought that or whatever. So I wonder if I would have liked it
there's
more.
still a huge issue in the medical community of
I came across like a 2016 article
feeling that Black people can withstand more pain than white people or people of other colors. That is. I definitely didn't know all that going in. And I mean, like, guess in like maybe a very vague, probably heard it once way, definitely never formally taught about it. But at, like you said, Carol, like going in after and reading more, it gave more, like, it made things more poignant that I had just read and made more puzzle pieces kind of come together for me. And I could be like, oh, that's when she was referencing that when she said that. Like I almost wish I'd just go back and reread it now.
Like how all the
what I know now more about the history of it. Like
I don't know if she says it more than once, but she does comment like all the observers are white. Yeah. And so I'm assuming I don't know if every single person in the experiment was not white.
Yeah, she wanted to touch on once we got to, because I like I said, my rating was 4 stars. And I think like part of a reason why I didn't give this a higher rating was because of the way that this book is marketed. Yeah. Because when you actually get to the experiments, you realize that it's not just Black people. Yeah. And it feels like it's marketed more. So it's that way. And then when you get into it, you're like, oh, so this is supposed to be different, even though it's like kind of based on a true story. And that's why
the point that she's trying to make. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
only one of the people was white. But the other, there were
people of color, but not
Black. Was it Charlie? He was Black. Was that his name? Charlie was Black. And then there were just other people of color. I think, like, she said, like, there was a Latina woman. And then Bethany was white, the receptionist. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was interesting. And actually, when I looked at a couple of reviews from Black booktubers, like specifically, I was like, I want to hear Black people's thoughts on this first. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that one of them brought up. And a reason that she did give it a lower rating was because she thought it almost took away from this history that you're trying to point out and say something about by not having everyone be Black. Because these medical experiments were not done on white people for sure, and we're not necessarily done on other people of color. Like this is something that is more specific to the Black community. So that is something that I picked up on.
I I want to bring it
I
up.
don't understand that choice. That's interesting.
Sorry, Amy.
Oh no, you're fine.
Deja also was she was still talking about like the rating and why she thinks that like more white people rated it lower, and like I just wanted to like kind of go through comments before I get too far behind, because I'm like, there's a lot more comments than we usually get, which is great. And I'm so glad that people want to talk about it. So Deja said, I think it's because Black people can afford to hesitate with their decisions or can't afford to hesitate with their decisions. That's something a lot of people don't understand. So, and then she said, that's why they seem dumb. Oh, okay.
Why her choices seem dumb, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because well, yeah, and I mean, she is in a situation that, while it may not be unique to Black people, is something that I think Deja's saying Black people find themselves in situations maybe more often where, and Deja, you can tell me if I'm wrong on your interpretation, but where they have to maybe make, like you're saying,
decisions
in making decisions, and so they make them because at that point it's not what seems smartest, it's what's going to get me by, what's going to help myself and the people I love. So Deja, again, if I'm not interpreting that, but
yeah, like she said, common to feel like they can't afford to hesitate, which I get that. Yeah, I can see where, like we were saying before, is like, you know, she's thrust into these decisions obviously because she's hard up, like things are, her grandmother just passed away. I guess we should probably get into spoilers now. Like, I'm just going to give you guys a spoiler warning now. This happens in like the first couple pages, but we might as well just end it here if you guys like didn't finish the book or whatever. I mean, Marcy's going to stick.
Marcy just getting
goodbye.
But you know, her grandmother dies, and her grandmother is essentially like her mother, because her mom is going through this very debilitating illness,
mystery illness.
Yeah, it's like a mystery illness. And so she's like piled with medical bills, which I mean, obviously says a lot about our healthcare system and how our marginalized people are treated, and people like disabled people are treated. Like, it's just,
and how, you know, marginalized people in general are disproportionately, you know, affected by lack of health care. You know, Black people and people of color are, you know, riddled with medical debt more so because they tend to be lower income for lots of systemic institutional reasons. So it's a lot of, it really gets right into it from the get-go. You're like, oh, okay. Like,
right. Sorry, I'm reading comments too at the
that's
same
okay. I'm trying to switch back and forth as well.
Yeah.
No, I think what Monica was talking about was that they just said I wouldn't call the Black community dumb like that. It was because when Raine was reading it, she was like, and so that's what she was clearing up, and she was joking, Monica. She wasn't saying that you said or targeted that community.
No.
The decision, Deja was saying the decisions she was making seemed dumb.
Right.
Not Black people, no.
Deja, the Black community often feels like if they aren't decisive, their decisions won't be respected or valued. They feel like they have to be almost aggressive in their decisions to get what they want. If that makes sense, she says, of course.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That's kind of like the same thing with like when you go, like when, especially like I know it happens with just women in general a lot too. When you go to the doctor and you tell them there's something wrong and they don't listen, they brush you off. They don't, you know.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
For sure.
Deja, I do wish you were in this live show. I know you're in the comments because as the only member of our book club who I think identifies as Black, I'm glad you're in the comments, and I'm glad that you are putting in your 2 cents because it's needed. It's important, especially on this topic.
Yeah.
I don't need a foot to live.
Sorry, I'm trying to read.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading comments too.
I'm also a slow reader too, so I'm like, get like, I know it's like a very important discussion, and I want to be respectful to everyone.
And I think that you could say that also just about lower income people in general don't have the necessarily the luxury of waiting around to make a decision.
Right.
Or, like you're saying, like $5,000 for something for, like a foot, or something.
Right.
I mean, that's $5,000. That could do a lot for someone. Or that's a lot of money to someone who does not have a lot of money. And yeah, you don't always get to make the smart decision, or what we would think is a smart decision. You have to make,
or just having that luxury.
You have to compromise that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, Deja makes another point. She has a dad who is disabled and needs treatment and meds to survive, and I'm hella attached to him. I would go to hell and back to make sure he'd be okay. If I needed to lose a foot, that's fine. I agree. My mom has a debilitating illness, so I totally get that. You would do anything for your family. So
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that the decisions she makes are really all that, I guess dumb was the word, but it's not. It's just, yeah,
I think it's easy for us reading to look at it and say, this is ill-advised. Like, can't you see all these red flags? Like, she's not thinking about red flags. She does point out, she doesn't go into this naively. Like, she knows that they're going to ask her probably to do weird things. And she accepts that going in, and she reminds herself several times that, this healthcare is so good, and she'll talk to her mom, and her mom is doing so much better. And, she's like, I know it's because she's getting the medication and the treatment that she deserves. So,
yeah.
At first I thought that they were like, maybe I missed something and this was the case, but at first I was like, that's not actually her mom that she's talking to. I was like, they're making her think like that she's getting better or something, and she's actually not. Like,
I was
kind of, yeah.
That's what I was like. But I mean, I just didn't trust anything in that book at all. But I was like, is she really talking to her mom? Like, the things that they were able to do with her and confuse her with, and I just was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she ends up getting this letter in the mail, and she gets invited to do what is called the Lakewood project. It's some type of medical experimentation, and she goes there. And what were you guys, what were your thoughts, like, initially her going into this? Like, they're asking her a ton of questions. Like, it was definitely a very interesting scene with all
when
that.
she keeps asking her, when she asks her about if she was being attacked or she was gonna be murdered by a group of people, like, what would she do? And she says, are you planning on murdering me?
Yeah.
I would have thought the same, because she kept on like turning it to that.
Yeah, like, would you kill someone?
Would you kill someone? I was like,
lives? Yeah.
What are they going to make her do? What are they going to ask her to do?
Yeah.
It was very creepy how it was all like very patriotic and like God bless America-ish, and just that was very strange. No. I didn't say there's a discussion going on in the comments on whether or not this is horror, which I think you could have about any book that is classified as horror.
Horror,
because
it's not
a genre.
Yeah,
it is, but it's you know, you can have sci-fi that is horror. You can have
you can have any
contemporary that is
genre with horror.
Yeah. And I think that what is scary to some people, it's not scary to others. I didn't find this book scary. Did this book
No.
keep me up? No, I'm not scared of being tested on. There's not a history of white people being tested on to test their pain through. You know what I mean? There's not. I found it creepy. I found it unsettling.
There are definitely some very unsettling. Unsettling is like the perfect word, I think, for this, because there's definitely some very unsettling themes or just aspects to this book.
Like the
that
things
I
that scare
definitely
me.
lean it towards horror. Horror is it's a genre that you can't just pinpoint things on it, and that's why I love it. It's so expansive. It can just dive into different other genres as well. I mean, that's what's cool about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be scary to be horror, but it can be anything. That's what's the great thing about it.
And I understand. I'm sorry, Carol. Go ahead.
And when we were doing our reading sprints, I mentioned I had to like stop reading this for a little bit because it was so anxiety inducing. And normally, like, I can do true crime and gore and everything, but just like the medical stuff and her lack of control in her situation, like, yes, she signed up for it, but then everything's out of her control, like physical things, mental things. Like, it just made me so anxious.
And that is scary, right?
Yeah, this is a horror book for sure. I ticked it off on my horror genre list, but I think it's just horror is subjective, and
it totally is.
It's definitely a misconception that horror is supposed to scare you, because it's really it's so subjective, because not everything scares every specific person. Everyone has their thing that gets to them. So with it,
and
I've
consumed so many horror movies. I watch a lot more horror than I read horror. Like, you guys read a lot more horror, and I mean, you also watch it. But like, there are so many. I've seen so many movies that at this point, to find something that scares me genuinely is few and far between. I grew up the biggest scaredy cat ever. I couldn't watch, and Are You Afraid of the Dark would scare me. Like,
okay, so Sarah's
the credits to X-Files would scare me.
She says, I do feel like in general horror needs to be scary in a traditional sense. Did you not read the teeth scene? Like,
thank you.
That was freaky on its own. I think that already made it horror immediately.
If I had seen that in a movie, that would have really freaked me out.
Did it scare me? No, but it was so unsettling, and just like, that's the stuff of nightmares. Like, you had a nightmare where your teeth fell out? Come on, like,
it's horrific stuff, and that's what that horror is. It's horrific stuff, and horrific to you might not be the same as horrific to me, but it's horrific to somebody. And either way, even if it's not horrific to you, you'll be like, because I heard that scene and I was like,
I was like, oh no, this is my worst nightmare. This is my worst nightmare happening right now.
I don't know what other category you would have put that in for Goodreads Choice Awards. Like,
I have no idea.
So I mean, Home Before Dark was a thriller, and I consider that a horror book. So
same.
So I wanted to get in a little bit deeper into what we started talking about, is when she finally signed up and she enters the facility. She's in the town of Lakewood, and she's meeting the other participants in the study. And she and Charlie are the only Black people. There are other people of color that are non-Black people, and then there's like one white lady named Bethany. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit more, just because we did talk about how the history, Amy, you were bringing this up about the history of experiments on Black people in America and like in other countries as well. But a lot of that, I think, was inspired from this. And then I think it's marketed more, it's definitely marketed different.
I'll be honest, I didn't really read into I knew this was a book by a Black author, and all I knew was it was about a woman who went into medical experimentation to get money for her family. Like I didn't read enough to know it was marketed as like inspired by true events or anything, so I can't really speak to that. But I'd be interested, Deja, if you are still there in the comments, did you find it weird that not everyone in the experiment was Black, considering what the author was trying to say about those historical experiments, or anyone else in the
Yeah, for sure. Because like you, Amy, I watched and read a lot of other reviews, and that was it seemed to be something that was brought up quite a bit. And I read back in, I don't know, it was like the middle of the year, sometime last year, but I read the book called Medical Apartheid by Harriet A. Washington, and it is specifically about Black people, like medical experiments done on Black people and just their injustices in our medical system, period. So when you guys said like that you did research after the fact and everything, I kind of knew about some things that had happened in actual history before reading this. And so I was expecting more of a focus on that. So when I read it, I was a little surprised by that as well. So I'm just curious if anyone.
I think with the way she writes it and how like strange it is, and how like you feel like you have no idea who to trust or what's going on or whatever. I wonder if this was kind of the author's, one of her intents was to get people to be like, this is crazy, let me look this up, like what I did, because I saw it was compared to like the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, and I was like, that sounds like a good book, I want to read that. So like I just went down this rabbit hole, right? And I think that if that's the author's intent, is to get people to learn something or go further and teach themselves something and research, then it's definitely a success with me, because I've got like books that I want to read now, or like articles that I saved and stuff. So I think it's now I've totally lost my train of thought.
But it's definitely helpful in that way.
Yeah.
It's helpful in that way that it makes people more aware. Like Deja said, she was actually surprised that earlier some of us said that we didn't know that in the past they used to test on Black people because they thought they didn't feel pain.
No,
and she thought it was common knowledge, and that's the sad thing, is it's not, and it should be. Right.
Now, I was aware of the misconception that Black people can withstand more pain. I knew that, but as far as knowing specific experiments that were done on Black people doing that, I did not know. Which is my own ignorance. I mean,
Yeah,
it is something that should be.
Yeah.
I didn't know until reading that book. Like, I had no idea until I read Medical Apartheid, which is a fantastic book, by the way. I'm going to link it down below for anyone who wants to like check it out later. Because if you want any like sort of nonfiction that has to do with that like, and you want to research more since reading this book, highly recommend that one. It's really, really interesting. And then on your question, Amy, earlier when you asked what Deja thought about that, she said, I thought it was definitely interesting. I think it would have been more impactful if all the people in the experiment were Black, honestly. I think going into it, that was just kind of, I don't know if it was just me, but I just felt like that was kind of my expectation when going into it. So when she was talking about the other people that were part of the experiment, I was like, oh, like it was a little different than what I was expecting. I wouldn't say it was like negative or positive or anything. Like it was just a thought, like immediately when she started talking about or describing the people around her. Kelly said the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks would be a good true story, though. Go on with this story. I haven't read that one. I've heard of that book though before.
Yeah, I've never read it. It's on my TBR. My coworker read it and recommended it to me, but I've never. And I know there was a movie made with Oprah, like maybe 5, 7 years ago.
Aw, you jumped in. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm actually
You always have like so much to say, and I'm trying to read your comments, and I feel like I look so stupid trying to read. I'm like, are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just in my room instead. Like literally, there's my bed. That's it.
I'm glad you decided to pop on.
Yeah, because the typing was too much, and these 200, the 200 character word limit. I was like, this is not okay.
I have read When No One Was Watching, and I really liked it. Has anyone else read that?
I read it. I didn't like it as much as I like this one.
Yeah, I have it on my TBR.
It's definitely more like contemporary.
I started it on audiobook, and then I felt like I was like losing, like I couldn't focus on it. So then I was like, I need to read this physically, and I just haven't bought the book yet, so that I can read it. I
think I liked the discussion more in When No One Is Watching, but like the end really ruined it for me. I hated the end.
The ending was far-fetched. So that doesn't seem like the right. I mean, like, I completely get what was trying to be said, but it almost was turned. I could see it being a movie. Like it was almost like an action movie. I don't know. It did. It took a turn. I don't know. I gave it 4 because I really liked it.
The ending was so bad, and it was one of my favorite books of last year.
And it was terrible. Like I feel like if they just made it kind of like a drama and like just took out the end and put something better, like I feel like the end was to make it like a thriller. And then if they took out the end and they just made it more of a drama with commentary, it would have been better.
Yeah.
Like I appreciated the ending in that, and I'm not going to obviously spoil anything, but finding out what was going on.
That's true.
I enjoyed that part, but how it all was kind of over the top. Well, it was really over the top.
It really,
you know what I mean? So it's like finding out the truth. I was like, awesome. How they went about it, I was like, this is a bit much. That was kind of how I felt about it.
I'm still very interested in reading it. I have since like seen a lot of reviews that were like questionable, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I want to read it, but I'm like so nervous.
You can still read it. I think in the beginning it has really good commentary and discussion. The end, the whole thriller part of it, I didn't like.
Yeah. They do definitely.
I've been really into audiobooks lately, so maybe I could try to start the audiobook again. I don't know. I just was not feeling it, and then I was like, maybe I need to read this physically. But right now, I'm like all about audiobooks, so I don't know. I go through phases.
I listened to the audio when I was driving to Philadelphia, so I listened to it on the way there, and so it was like completely undistracted. Like listening, so that was perfect for that. Because I think
Monica said there's a weird sex scene.
I mean, there's a sex scene.
I wouldn't call it weird.
Maybe she just meant weird and that she felt like it was out of place. But
it was like just sudden or something.
Well, Alyssa Cole writes romance.
Yeah.
There's a connection with 2 of the characters, and they do end up having sex, and so it's very like written like someone who writes sex scenes a lot. And so I get if you aren't used to reading, that would feel really out of place probably. Yeah, that's probably what she means.
And some people even debate if it's a romantic suspense, which I don't think it is, but
it's just weird, like out of context.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like, because she was expecting like to read a thriller or a drama book, and then all of a sudden there's like a racy scene.
Well, and I would think probably most thrillers, mainstream thrillers, you're not going to get like an in-depth sex scene. Like you might get a couple sentences, but this was more like. But I've read a lot of Alyssa Cole, and so I kind of it didn't seem strange to me, but I could totally see.
I'm going to read the book tomorrow now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one scene, but it is good. Alyssa Cole can write a sex scene.
Really? I'm going to have to check her out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm okay. I'm about it.
But
I've been in the mood for some weird smutty stuff. I found like a smutty horror book that I'm like, I might.
okay.
I got it on track. It's on my-
Is not weird or horrific in any way. It's just in the middle of this book that, you know, is ordinarily about a lot of other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, she says it felt out
I
of
mean,
nowhere.
sometimes sex falls out of nowhere.
That's true.
You just fall into each other and it just happens. That's how babies are made.
Yeah, it's all the more realistic.
Yeah.
So let's get back on topic of the book.
Yeah.
Deja, is that why you popped on? Did you have some more things to say regarding that, or should we just like move along? Or
Oh, I just was tired of typing.
sounds good.
Gotcha.
I'm so happy that you're here. So we get into
Look at what Sarah said.
Yeah.
going from teeth falling out to sex is a whole ass mood. This is just, I mean, it's a weird book club, okay?
Yeah. We
We
get
get
some weird
weird
topics
over
in like this.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
also, Monica, we kind of differ because I like smut in all my books. I don't care what genre it is, just throw it
Oh,
in
yeah,
there.
I don't.
And it makes it better.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't
And just
either.
like middle grade, are these parents having sex? Can we hear? They just like, what's going on in this picture book? Can we get?
I don't know. I feel like I'm always like pleasantly surprised if I'm reading a book and it's not a romance and there's a sex scene in it and it's descriptive. I'm like, dang, like I was not ready for that, but I am here for it.
But I'm here
I
for
don't know.
it.
Like, I'm always pleasantly surprised by that. I feel like I'm not taken off guard. I don't know.
If
Yeah.
somebody's not dying and if there's not smut, I don't know why I want to read it. Like I feel like those are the
You know
two.
what you like.
It has to have one or the other or both, or like there's no point.
Oh God. All right.
I love that though. I love that. All differing opinions here. So I wanted to bring up the fact that she starts these experiments. So we did touch on the fact that like Deja, were you did say that you were expecting it to be all the experiments to be done on like mostly Black people or all Black people.
Yeah.
So going into that, like that, I knew that threw me off a little bit, but do you think that took away from the book or like the message or?
I feel like it was definitely a choice and I just don't understand like the point. Like I feel like it could have just been Black people and it would have made more sense. So like adding all the other, I guess maybe it was for diversity. Like I just didn't know
That was my thought.
how it would
Deja.
have added to the like commentary. I was like, okay, I guess it.
If it
Because really, you
maybe
don't get
confusing.
Well, it's yeah. The Sarah says the commentary would have been conveyed stronger with all Black versus all white. Because I mean that white people were the people doing experiments on Black people historically.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know why she would have wanted to shy away from making that strong of a statement when that's the statement she's trying to make anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, the editor told her. I mean, honestly, that could have been it because other than, so you know that Bethany / Judy, that person, is white, and then there's only the one other friend that she makes there, and I think she's Latina. It says at the beginning, but I can't remember. But she doesn't get to know many other people other than Charlie.
Yeah, I think it describes like I think when in the way that it describes her, like she could be Latina, but she could also be something.
Okay, she's
else
just
as well.
like
I know that she's darker skinned.
she's darker skin. Okay, I couldn't remember how they described her. If they said, so it may have just
She like says like she may be, but like she never like actually
confirms.
confirms it.
Gotcha.
Did
you
but
all
also other minorities have been tested on.
Oh,
as
for
well.
sure. Yeah.
So maybe that's like Native Americans, like they're. I was trying to find all the articles I saved, but I couldn't. But like, they would be sent to schools, like types of boarding schools or something, and then they'd be experimented on without like their parents' knowledge or any kind of like permission or
So maybe
something.
it was just
when I was
commentary on
watching an
it.
interview with her, she had mentioned that it wasn't even just that; it was even people. And maybe this is why she made that decision, but like even people in the prison system, like just it all types of classes and races.
Yeah.
That I think she was trying to make that point,
Yeah.
but the way that it's marketed, maybe because she's a Black author.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, I feel like historically she specifically talked about, like, Black individuals. So I feel like that's why it kind of threw me off, because I feel like she was trying to draw, like, a connection between the past and the present and how there's still things going on. So I feel like if she wanted to do that with all minorities, then she had to talk about the history of all minorities, which she didn't.
Because at the end, there's definitely a focus on, oh, they've been up in here stealing Black people specifically for years. Like, she doesn't, to my, like, if I remember correctly, she doesn't mention other minorities in Lakewood being targeted and, like, taken for experimentation throughout the years. She just talks about Black people. So yeah, that's it's interesting. If anybody finds an interview clip or anything with her where she discusses that, it's almost she was trying to make a broader point. I don't know.
I think that's trying the theme with this book. That it's a thing that she tries to do is like she does bring a lot of issues to the forefront, and I think
there are a lot of things going on.
Earlier, Amy said this book would have benefited from being longer because there are so many issues that she's trying to cover, and then we'll get even further into it. Like I have a comment about something more towards the end, but yeah, I think that's like definitely one thing that could have been improved. Maybe if it had been a little bit longer, could have focused a little more on like all of the issues that she had. There was a lot, which are very important issues, obviously. But to dive deeper into them, it would have benefited. The book having been longer would have been great.
I want to, while we're talking about the race of the participants, why do you all think that the only white person in there was the one who was replaced over and over? Because I almost think that was saying something, I don't know, maybe comical about white people.
Is that going back to like Black people don't feel pain, so this white girl can't hack it or something? Like, is that what it is?
I was wondering if it was which would be a strange point to make.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of after.
The observers were making for her is of like, oh, well, this happened to you, so we've got to, because like, for those of you in the comments, I mean, I assume everyone's read it. You have Bethany. Her teeth all fall out. It's disgusting. And then she's replaced with a woman named Judy, who is then replaced with another woman who they call Judy, and then I think another. And so, which is weird. Why don't they call them all Bethany? Why did it change to Judy and then a bunch of Judys? Why was the white person being the one replaced? It almost felt comical to me, and I don't know if that's how she meant it, is that like white people all look the same and are like replaceable, which I thought was funny, but I don't know if that's what she was saying.
Well, yeah, because why even like if the first woman was just out, like why replace her? Like, did she have that much of an impact on the others to that she was needed?
Yeah.
Or
and like the putting the same poster up.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the poster. That's what I wanted to mention. The poster. You can't tell
there are a lot of things that are just not
or desserts is stress spelled backwards.
I think it could have also been kind of like a commentary that like a lot of times when Black people are in pain, they're not taken as seriously. So it could have been like, okay, well, like she's in pain and they're obviously going to take her out. Like what, like the main character, literally they put her in, like they sent her to her mom's house, but she still came back. Like they still made her came back while these other white people keep going through stuff and they just keep putting them, like getting rid of them and getting a new one. And I think that's also kind of like, I don't know why this popped into my head, but like a lot of Black women, when they're going into labor, like this happened to my friend, and like she was asking for an epidural, and like a woman next to her who was white was also asking for an epidural, and she was actually further along, and they gave it to the other woman. And it was like, what? Like, it's just like a lot of times it's not taken as seriously because there's still like the stigma that Black people don't feel much pain or feel pain, and it's kind of just like still ingrained.
Oh, it definitely
makes
is.
sense.
So do you feel, Deja, that she was trying to make more of a point of that, like Carol was saying, like that the observers were
gave the white woman more attention, like as far as
or like taking her stuff more seriously than the other, and that's why she was always replaced. That does make sense. I don't think it's the point that Megan Giddings was trying to make about,
but that's what I got.
No. But I mean, I don't think Megan Giddings was trying to reinforce that idea. I think she was saying that the observers, were
like she was calling
reinforcing that idea. Yeah. But I did kind of take it as like a comical. It almost was like, this white person keeps getting replaced, and it's like the same bitch. Like, because which I didn't think she was trying to say, but I thought
because eventually they have Bethany, then Judy, and then it's kind of like
Bethany,
Judy.
Yeah, so then it's like, well, they're so similar. Why even change the name? Like, it's
and I just found that kind of funny. But yeah, I'm sure she was trying to say something more important than that.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, I picked up I am white, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. We are just interchanged.
I mean, I do tell my dad, because my dad, he's just like a middle-aged, like 50-something-year-old white man who wears jeans and a t-shirt every day. And I'm like, you look the same as every other man on the street. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and then he gets all offended.
Like when Bridgerton, this is off topic, when Bridgerton started and someone put a picture of like, obviously the main male character is Black, but like all the Bridgerton sons are like white dudes with brown hair. And they were like, you all really expect us to keep these people straight? And I was like, they all look the same to me. And I am white. So I'm like, I get it. Just another white dude with brown hair. I'm like, I mean, I get it.
I was so to get further along into this, how did you guys feel about the freedom that she had in this experiment? Like, she could just wander the town, she could meet people, she could do, like, she had her own space. Like, I thought that was really interesting because I was expecting more of like an isolated setting, like they were going to be in like this building doing experiments and that's it. I didn't know she was going to be able to like do all these other things.
She was being watched 24/7.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but I also think they found the really, I guess, desperate people. They were confident in their choices where they're like, she'll come back, like, because of her situation.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think they were just giving them a semblance of freedom, not actual, like, freedom.
Yeah, it's like giving them a little bit of comfort and like security.
Like, they're the
what
ones
they're doing.
Hotel. I'm like, that hotel or that room is bugged. Like, where they've got her in that apartment, I was like, oh, I'm sure that I kind of was expecting her to find a camera.
There was probably cameras everywhere, but I was just expecting, I don't know, a different situation. Like, I wasn't expecting her to be able to like walk around the town and stuff. Like, it was just.
Yeah, I was thinking this
but I think
would be one location kind of thing. Yeah,
it added to that, like, to it being like unsettling and just ominous. Like, it was just so weird that she was just able to go anywhere, and then you're just immediately like, okay, so like obviously everyone's in on it, right? Because like everyone's around and she's talking to people.
Yeah, I think it was
Monica's. Oh, sorry, Carol, go ahead.
But I think that.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I think that like it definitely was kind of eerie, and I think it's just like they had the town, like they knew they had that town under lock and key, so it didn't matter what she did. Like, she wasn't gonna get help in that town. So
yeah, Lakewood is
so weird
town,
to
it's
me.
not just the facility.
Like,
Yeah, you're right.
she was like, she just like went off and was in the town. I was just like, this is so weird. Like, they're not. Like,
I think it's the whole town is the experiment. It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
you know, she's, you know, yeah, like Deja said, like that it's the whole, they have that whole town. Like, they're not going to let her just up and leave.
Yeah.
I mean, they let her, and I think, again, letting her go back to her mom's, I remember thinking at that point, I was like,
This is odd. Yeah.
they're letting her go, but I'm like, they're not. I mean, I'm sure they have eyes on her. And
Right.
like Carol said, they knew that she would come back because she was seeing how good her mom was doing, and she knew that if she quit, her mom would have to go off those meds and all that. So it was like it almost reinforced for her why she was doing it, and I think they knew that.
Right. Yeah.
Monica says she doesn't understand how she got out at the end. I mean, because it just imploded on itself, basically.
Yeah.
And they just up and left. Because if I remember, it's been a couple weeks since I finished it, but isn't it just like all the stuff comes out about the water in the town and everything?
Yeah, which is, I thought that was interesting too, and that was something that I wanted to bring up was like the water situation, which is obviously something that still goes on today.
Yeah, access to clean water.
Yeah, having that be something, it was completely unrelated to that as well. And then,
yeah, I thought
they would have touched on that some more too towards the end, and like maybe that. I don't know, like you said, like extended the end and really explained that.
Yeah, the end throws a lot of stuff at you that, I mean, like there's definitely hints throughout that the water is like off, like there's something going on with it. I just expected it to tie more into what they were doing at the facility somehow.
Yeah.
But it almost seemed like it was its own separate issue that happened to be going on there. So that was, and maybe that was only a part of the story because that was her means of getting out of it, was that like, you know, this is going on, and this is the thing that actually blows it all wide open and makes it so that they have to leave. So that's the only reason that we knew about it. But it wasn't like, and I mean, I would think that if she was trying to make a point of, you know, like Flint, Michigan, or somewhere that does not have clean water, that does disproportionately affect, you know, Black communities and communities with people of color. But like Lakewood itself is very white. So, you know what I mean? Like most of the townspeople are white. So I don't know if she was trying to say that or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, with the whole water situation.
Yeah, if that was just like a plot device so that the ending could work out, or what?
Or even maybe like, I don't know, make you think differently, like
kind of throw you off.
Different, yeah, to throw people off. All right, I have to go to the restroom, so I'm gonna like run away, but keep talking.
Yeah, that is how it, I mean, essentially, because it brought in all, I mean, isn't that what happened at the end? It brought all this attention to the town.
Yeah, and I was thinking that it was somehow connected. Like, were they doing something that
was it accidentally poisoned? Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Like, was it an accident? They messed something up and it did that, or was it another experiment they were doing? And also with the town being white, like, is it like I don't want to get like morbid or whatever, but is it her kind of being like, hey, it doesn't affect you right now, like, but if you don't fix it or you don't help or you don't step up to the plate, basically, it can ruin everything for everyone. It's like, it's not, you're not invincible because of the color of your skin or your income or whatever. I think it was her kind of being like,
that's an interesting take. Yeah.
It's just hard
Well,
because my brain was all over the place during this book, trying to like make connections and.
Well, the ending
Yeah.
like is so rushed and it's thrown at you. Like all this information is thrown at you, so it is kind of confusing. Monica said the town was a creepy version of the Truman Show. So I kind of get that. I didn't even think about it at the time, but it definitely does remind me a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I really thought like it was just gonna come out that like everyone's involved in the town, and then like Charlie's involved, and like I don't know.
And I personally like that it leaves that open.
Yeah.
Like, while I do wish there was more clarification on some things. I kind of like that you don't like. Were they all in on it? Were they all actors? Was this just an experiment on her? Like, what is going on? Like, where is Charlie and her other friend that she made? Like, I don't know. But I kind of like that you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need a sequel or something.
Well, Carol, you brought up that you had seen something that said that like Charlie was her brother, like some type of theory.
Oh my
What?
I was looking at Goodreads reviews, and someone was like, "Is no one going to talk about that Charlie's her brother and her dad is one of the observers?" And I cannot find anything that like verifies that.
So is this person just trying to throw everyone for a loop? Like I don't understand.
It threw me real bad because I was looking and looking and looking, and then I did it. And if all the observers are white, and was there any time that she mentioned being biracial at all? So like that maybe could have been like a little bit.
I don't think she knows. I mean, she doesn't know anything about her father.
Right, but I tried to find something that like somebody else would talk
Someone
about.
like threw that out there and was like, "I'm going to
evidence to support that." I mean, doesn't she say at a certain point once she finds out that her mom was also experimented on in a similar way? Does she not mention something about like, could my dad have been one of the? Oh, did you? Like, could my dad not have been one of the observers or something? And she talks about not knowing anything about her dad, but then they leave it there. Or am I
right? Like, could
up?
her mom have gotten pregnant
during that
while she was being experimented on or part of the experiment, and then left it because she was pregnant and was like, "I need to take care of this kid"?
Yeah, which does seem to kind of be the timeline for what may have happened. Oh, Sarah says there's a ton of theories. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments.
Oh,
Say she suffered from anxiety and paranoia, and none of it was real.
I'd be anxious and paranoid too if I was in a medical experiment.
That when she goes to the cabin, and first of all, she was so chill about going to that cabin.
Yeah, I was like, this is creepy as hell.
It wasn't that I thought her choices were dumb. It was that I thought I would be way more afraid. But I'm, I am who I am. But I was thinking I would be so creeped out in this cabin. And then she sees the video of them punching her in the face.
Yeah.
And she has like no she does no memory of it. And I'm like,
that was what was messing me up, is because like she has no control. Nothing. Like,
right. It's like she's consenting to this, but the whole thing is a memory.
And she doesn't even know.
Project. And so she's not even remembering the abuse. And it's like,
is this after she comes back from her mom's?
No, this was
it's like the first time she's ever called. Like she's ever called up to do anything. Like,
yeah, it's like a couple days after she's been there, and they take her to that cabin, and she's there for a couple of days, like out in the middle of whatever, and she has like they give her like just enough food and water or whatever, and it's like the third or fourth day she like wakes up and there's an iPad right next to her, and she's like, oh, they want me to try to get on the iPad, I'm going to avoid it, and so she does for a while, and then there's something, she ends up picking it up, and she opens it, and there's a video of her at the other training facility, I think, like for at the first time that she was being tested, and she's being like punched in the face, and it freaks her out,
Oh man.
And so that's why when they come to get her from the cabin, she runs, and then just when she falls, it breaks her wrist. So
Like right when things really start getting weird.
that's the point at which I'm like, what now? What's going on? And then the whole teeth was just,
I don't remember the cabin part. I don't know why. I just
Really?
read it.
Really?
I don't
Yes,
remember.
probably
It like stood out in my mind. Maybe because I reached out to Amy like right when that happened. Right when I went to that part was when I reached out to Amy and was like, okay, things are starting to get weird.
Yeah, I was like, Raine, where are you? Because I don't know if I think I hadn't finished yet. I was just ahead of where you were. And so I was like, what part are you at? Monica doesn't remember the cabin part either?
Weird. Why did
I don't
we
remember the end. Even though I just read the end was so rushed. I just don't.
Deja and Carol, do you know what we're talking about? Where she's in the cabin?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, are we having a group hallucination, Raine? Like,
Did we remember this? Just the two of us?
Raine, what's going on?
Also, I just want to say, I have my drink, but I do not promote Chick-fil-A. My mother got this for me. Okay, I always put that if I have Chick-fil-A in lives, I'm like, I don't support Chick-fil-A, but I'm gonna drink my drink.
I'm gonna say I don't support Chick-fil-A's stance. I do eat their food, and I'm sorry.
It's okay because someone almost got canceled because they had Chick-fil-A in like a vlog, and I was like, I'm not
for the love of God.
Look, it's the only thing I could keep down when I was pregnant was their French fries. So,
look, Sarah said
I probably went to a Chick-fil-A once in my entire life. Like I don't know.
She said, alert the media.
I ate Chick-fil-A this week.
But everyone talks about how amazing it is, and I had it like one time, and it was just like
it's normal.
It wasn't memorable. Like I wasn't like eating this all the time.
You know
So
how I think it's kind of like, so I got a
bad.
tattoo. I got a tattoo when I was 16. And at first I was like, this hurt. What was this? But then now, like 2 years later, I'm like, I really want another tattoo. It's kind of like that, I think. It's like you have Chick-fil-A once and you're like, and then you like wait a little bit and then you're like, wow, I really want Chick-fil-A again. And then you get it again. And then it keeps like getting worse and worse and worse where you want it like every day.
Okay.
Like every week.
That
I'm like,
that analogy somehow works for me. Probably because I have tattoos, and like that just worked for me. Like okay,
my thing, I feel like that about Bojangles. Ooh, I can eat me some Bojangles.
What is that?
Marcy, I think you mean Bojangles.
What is that?
Yes.
You don't know what Bojangles is?
No.
Yeah, we don't have that.
It's like fried chicken and French fries. I do not like Bojangles.
You are canceled. Alert the media.
Okay, Marcy. I don't really like fried chicken, which I know is kind of blasphemous, but I think it's dry. And then Bojangles put so much.
Not Chick-fil-A fried chicken.
I'm like, what is this? Black pepper and me don't agree. So I'm like, what is all this black pepper? And then sweet tea and me? No.
Oh, girl.
I love their chicken. Their chicken is so like juicy to me, and then that little spice that it has, and the dirty rice. Ooh!
You can hook me up with a Bo-Berry biscuit from there, though. Like
that's my favorite.
Oh my God! Like that is just like you just need an insulin shot with that. Like they just ought to serve it with some insulin because it is.
I really like the cheddar biscuits, but you can't get a normal biscuit from Bojangles because it's like cement. My mouth gets stuck together. I'm like, okay, like my mouth.
That's why you get it with all the icing on it. Like
I'm like, literally, it's like I can't get my mouth.
Like the closest. Like there's a boat. I mean, I live close to every fast food restaurant essentially, but there's a Bojangles like 0.2 miles from my house. But it's if I had to choose which chicken I prefer, it would be Chick-fil-A. Of the two.
No, let me not do that. No, we don't support Chick-fil-A. But I just love Bojangles.
I don't do my closest friend. Oh, what'd you say, Raine?
I don't do any sort of meat on the bone, so it's like. Other than that.
Oh no, I don't like meat on the bone.
Chick-fil-A is not on the bone. Chick-fil-A is not. No.
Oh. I know Chick-fil-A is not, but I didn't know about the other place, the Bojangles.
Bojangles, yeah.
They have both. They have both. This has taken a turn.
I just
I'm like trying to go up in comments because I'm like, oh, I gotta.
Okay, put a poll up on the Instagram Chick-fil-A or Bojangles. It
She
only
just
applies
jumped
if you live in the Southeast, because
She
y'all
said
don't
she
have.
hasn't chimed in because she was driving, but have you talked about how crazy the town was yet? And
Right?
was that because of the water or something else, like the teenagers fighting and the makeout scene? You know what? I don't think that had anything to do with the water, but I do think the town was freaking weird. I don't
The
know.
makeup
why.
scene
Yeah,
was
I
weird to me.
forgot.
I was like,
I
what
forgot
is-
about that.
I don't know
Makeup.
how much of that was just to make you feel off or unsettled,
yeah.
Mhm.
because that scene is really weird, where they're making absolutely no noise whatsoever. And again, everyone keeps popping in the comments and talking about Lena, and it's like Lena, like mentally unstable, like, and it just makes me wonder, like, how much of this is her perception, and how much of this was really happening.
Well, I
don't
think
know.
they definitely pushed that whole unreliable narrator thing.
If they're doing a memory experiment on her,
She's
Yeah.
taking pills, like she's going through all this stuff.
yeah,
Like, how much of this is like actually happening in front of her?
Yeah.
Right. It's like they test her memory to make sure that she will remember things the way they want her to.
Like, was
That's-
yes,
really just
the
her
words and stuff.
watching a memory of her like enacted? Like, I don't know. Like, what
Yeah.
is that even?
I really like that theory. I don't really like the theory that Sarah said a lot of people have, where she suffered from anxiety and paranoia. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like that kind of, I don't know. I don't like it when they try to use like mental illness as like a plot twist or device. It really just annoys me. So I wouldn't like that. And like, yeah, it would kind of play into like the theory that like Black people are like crazy. I don't like that. But the experiment,
So
I like.
the effects of the experimentation.
Yeah, I like that. But the anxiety.
Yeah, I
and
I
paranoia
would tend to think more that it was like
from the experiments.
that the experiments themselves were starting to make her
Sure.
less reliable.
I like
but
that.
Not that she is anxious or not that the whole thing's made up, but just
Well,
like
no, they never even touched. Like, in the beginning, there's nothing that would even make sense for that. Like,
Yeah.
when you introduced her character, like, there's nothing.
like she's otherwise completely like well adjusted. Like she
Right.
does
She's
fine
helping her
college.
mom going to school or working
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, it's not
If
that
anything,
people.
she's more well adjusted than most people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But also,
Monica said
they're
this
giving
will
her
happen.
chemicals too.
Really
It's not.
happen.
It's not just like, oh, remember these words. Like, they're literally pumping her full of who knows what.
like drugs and
So
things. Yeah.
it could
Making her
induce,
pills.
these things. So
You know what?
Right.
For a certain amount of money, I'd do it too.
All right. How much money? How much?
Oh my god.
You
I'm
know,
gonna say mine first. $50,000, and y'all know why.
look, the government is
Yeah.
listening.
50,000.
We're gonna start getting weird letters in the mail for mystery organizations.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, Carol, I heard you say that you would do this for $20,000.
it depends on what exactly it is and like how long it's gonna go on. Because they were paying her every day. I mean, I don't know if I can do every day like that. You can take my foot though. I'm fine with that. You can take
Yeah.
I don't need a
I
foot.
would charge more than $5,000 for a
You
foot.
could-
Oh yeah, more than
take
$5,000.
my foot
I
for
don't need a foot.
50K.
For what?
You could take my foot for $50K for sure.
I mean, can I get a prosthetic foot?
Yeah, like with the
You
money.
can buy your own.
Yeah, with your $50,000, there goes your $50,000.
I was saying, well, I don't want to spend my $50 on a prosthetic. I would like them to. I want a nice
Oh, like-
prosthetic.
They have
Plus the 50.
Plus the
50K
50.
plus a prosthetic.
Well, only one foot. I would keep one. Someone said only one foot. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why they need it. That's not my question to ask.
I would give an organ. Like what's I don't know organs. What's the organ that you have two of? I would give one of those.
Kidney.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd give one of those. That's fine.
You say I don't know organs.
Yeah, I don't. I know, like, I don't remember which one you have two of. I know you have, like,
It's
a
the
liver,
heart.
small intestine,
You have
big
two of
intestine,
those.
kidney.
and the liver
heart.
regenerates.
You have two lungs.
Okay, I know that. Not that one. I
You
would
live with-
Yeah.
my liver
live with
barely
one
function
lung.
as it is. Nobody wants them. Like,
And your liver regenerates, doesn't it? So you can give
oh
like
yeah, you can like have like a little bit.
You could give them like just a chunk, like just
A
cut off,
chunk?
like a slice. Just give them a slice.
Yeah. I would give
Oh,
a foot, one of my kidneys, and a chunk of my liver for like, I don't know, 100,000.
The thing about it, there's people
Nice.
that will sell their plasma for like $25.
Listen,
every
they give me
day.
$5.
I really would do that.
My sister used to do it all the time, and her arms would be so bruised up because
You absolutely can live with only one lung.
Yeah.
You have to be on oxygen.
I'm considering a lot
Listen,
of things.
I'll tell you what, they can have my foot for about $10, and I'll just put it in
I'll sell
GameStop
some things.
stock,
I'm
and then I'll
going
make
to
a
buy
ton of money.
I'm
Like-
done with my eggs. You can have all my eggs.
yeah, my sister and I looked into the egg thing, but like you have to. It was like you couldn't get a tattoo within 1 year before. You couldn't smoke within a certain amount of time. You couldn't, and then you have to get pumped full of all these hormones too. So you don't know
Oh my
what you're
god,
your body's gonna
No.
do, and
my poor husband.
you're just like crying all the time. And so,
Yeah,
feel
well,
like
you haven't already gone through it. Come on.
That would be kind of smart. Like, I feel like I would give eggs, but like they like one of my friends was looking into it, and like they don't really want eggs from Black people. So, yeah,
They don't?
no, because nobody wants to buy them. They just want white children.
you say it so like, oh.
Speaking of some dumb shit in America.
Literally,
I
I'm
feel like if I said, well, I would have like a little black child. That makes me sound weird, but I mean, I'm saying like,
no, I mean,
I would. Who cares?
In the context.
My baby is mixed.
Oh yeah,
so-
it was mentioned in the book too.
What?
Huh?
The eggs thing.
Oh yeah, they do mention that in the book.
Yeah, they don't want black eggs. I don't
Yeah,
know.
men can have one testicle. You can live with one lung. By the way, I just googled it.
Yeah, you can.
Men
It
can
just
live
sucks.
with one testicle.
Yeah, it just sucks.
I
But
feel like can't they live with 0 testicles?
Yeah,
I
They
hope.
just-
I wish.
yeah.
they probably would argue otherwise.
Sarah said, I mean, I don't want no white child. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I mean,
You know what? Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta change the picture.
Oh my goodness.
There it goes.
oh Lord.
Peppa's like, what?
Yeah, they aren't in demand. I don't understand.
I don't know that I can sell. I don't know. I have PCOS. I don't even know if they can get any good eggs out of there.
They don't want my genetics. Like literally, like
I don't want my. They're gonna be
Not
like,
mine
oh
either.
Lord, that girl has no ass. I ain't. No.
no, I didn't mean that. I
No,
meant
that's what they'd say about me. They'd be like,
in my family, like we have like way too many mental illnesses that like run through my family. Like it's
Same. They'd be like, not those knees and depression. I don't want it. I don't
no,
want it.
literally like anxiety, depression, eating disorders, bipolar. Like my dad and I both have ADHD. Like they don't want it. They don't want it. They don't want it at all.
No, they'd hear schizophrenia and be like,
Exactly, Kat.
no,
They're like, no.
yeah.
don't want it.
Mine would sell for about
It's-
$3.75 down on the corner. That'd be about what you could get for mine.
Yeah.
Well, you have
They'd be
millions, so it adds
They'd be
up.
like, she fat, she has PCOS, her dad had a stroke,
I have asthma
anxiety,
too.
depression, like, yeah. I couldn't give mine away.
I was like, my parents really failed me on the mental aspect. They really, their genetics combined into a bad situation.
Drew all the short straws, didn't you?
I did. I really did. They drew. Mhm.
Mine did too, and then just went ahead and had 6 kids, and they're like, let's have 6 of them. Let's just have 6 of them and have them all be messed up.
Where do you fall in the 6, Raine?
Huh?
Where do you fall in the 6?
I'm the first one.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And my bum knees, and they were like, let's just keep having them, whatever.
Bless your poor little bum knees.
I know.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
sorry.
gonna say this is really random, but I saw this TikTok the other day that was saying how they're like want to make like for lesbian couples they're trying to make sperm out of bone marrow, so then that way they can like use it to fertilize eggs. But then it's like, what happens if they use bone marrow to make sperm and then fertilize your own egg? And it was really interesting.
That would be weird.
No,
To
it's
fertilize
because
your own
what
egg
happened
thing?
was
but I always bring this up at parties because I'm
like you
that
fertilize
person.
your own egg. But the
I
thing is,
bring
what can
this up.
happen is if you have like, because basically if there's like a gene that's bad, there's like a backup gene from the two people. So then if you end up with the bad gene 2 times, then you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could do genetic testing, right? Like,
Oh, that's true. Like you can make a whole bunch of embryos and then like genetically test them to see which one's good.
yeah.
Like, which one's going to be the hottest? You know, some people would be concerned about that.
Oh, they
Right.
would.
Well, now they already test. You can test sex. You can test cystic fibrosis and all, like Down syndrome, things like that. So,
Literally, but like men are becoming obsolete. Like we don't.
Yes.
Need them.
I bring this up at parties all the time. I am that girl. I'm like, so by the way, in like 4.9 billion years, men are going to be extinct.
well, you know, I always
Oh,
wonder
yeah.
that, like, if you're a
Because
like
it's
a
so
lesbian couple,
cool.
I always wonder, like, if they struggle with like, okay, that's your egg, but a stranger's sperm. Like, I always want, like, if I was in that position, I feel like I would have a hard time with that, or like it would be
Same.
weird.
Don't they kind of, and I may be completely wrong, like I know sometimes with like male couples, they yeah, 1 out of 10 how fine is my baby gonna be. I want a fine baby. This live is one of the weirder ones.
It's very special.
We're very off topic.
It's okay. No, because you talked about eggs in the book.
I mean, it's science. Science is kind of
Yeah.
It is.
It's a sci-fi book, and we're talking about.
This reminds me of Gattaca, is what it reminds me of. All this like weird genetic. If y'all haven't watched that,
I just think it's super fascinating and super cool that you could do that, and then only have female children, and then just like keep making females.
I hope my children or
And
my
run the world,
sister's kids
girls.
are cute.
What, Deja?
I hope my sister's kids are cute because she's pregnant right now because they're either going to end up being Cancers or Leos. So they're really going to need their looks to save them because
You'll have to let us know where they fall on the sexiness scale. When they
they're
come out.
either, I mean, I think they're going to look like me because my sister doesn't look like me because she's fully white. So, but her husband, who's Puerto Rican, he's like black Puerto Rican. He looks like really like me. Like you guys saw him the other
Yeah.
he kind of looks like me. So
Yeah.
if he looks like me, and my dad and my sister and I both have our dad's genetics, I feel like that means that they're gonna look like me. No,
So you'll be the one like out with them, hanging out.
that's what my mom said. So
And
like,
they're like,
I'm gonna be with them, and then people are gonna be like, "Wow, look at your kids," and I'm gonna be like, "You're not
Like,
Your sister's gonna look like the nanny.
They better be funny because if they're not, like, they have to be funny and cute because the Cancer or the Leo thing is really tragic. Like, they're either going to be the most emotional sign or the most self-centered sign. Like, come on. That's too much.
Well, until they're grown, they're both either way. So
That's true. That's true.
children are monsters.
So
Dramatic.
I'm gonna segue this because I really want to talk about this point, Raine, if that's okay.
Yeah, go
So
for it.
talking about kids, the part where she's being walked around the building and she sees the little girl shoot and murder her parents in
What
the
was that?
bed.
Oh, wait. Maybe.
I can't believe we
maybe
didn't
that's
even bring this up.
wait.
Like, I'm mad we
Maybe-
didn't bring this up, but thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up now.
Maybe
Now
That
that
came
we're
out of
speaking about it,
nowhere. I didn't get it. I was like, wait, what's going on?
I would have liked some clarification on what the hell that was.
I feel like
Does-
this needed a lot of clarification. In certain
I feel
scenes
like it needed 50 to 100 more pages.
I feel
I do, because I don't want to be spoon-fed everything by any means, and I say that a lot, but there's a balance between being explained way too much and leaving way too much to think about. Like,
But
you know,
But it was so nonchalantly put as well. Like she was just walking and looking at the flowers and walked away. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
my
I thought it was
conspiracy theory.
interesting.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I thought it was interesting that they were walking her around, like thinking she wasn't gonna remember. There, and the woman's like, it doesn't matter. She's not gonna remember any of this anyway, and she totally does. And then she pretends like she hadn't seen anything else. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was. What kind of experiment were they doing on her? Was she a black child? I don't remember if they said if their race.
I don't think they did say.
Yeah, that didn't seem like a memory experiment. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what
Carol
that
has a conspiracy. I want to hear Carol because she
Okay.
seems excited.
I'm still reaching for this whole like family thing. I don't know, but her mom has her, and they're both in the experiment when she's really little, but she doesn't remember. And they keep asking her about being violent and stuff because they've got these other kids in the experiment who are violent now, but she got away, grew up. Is she violent? I don't know.
Is that a memory of hers?
Not like no, like she actually is witnessing it, but maybe her mom left the experiment after she was born. And maybe she was a little bit of a part of the experiment and just doesn't remember when she was a child. And then they leave the experiment, and then they're concerned about her being violent because they've got these children shooting their parents in the experiment.
It seemed like they were trying to get the child to shoot her parents.
Like push them to...
Like, I felt like that's what it was, too. Like, they
were seeing if
done
they
something
worked.
to her to see if this would happen.
If that would happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
I don't know
I don't
either.
know why that was put in there. I have no idea. That was like one thing that I'm just like, I don't know why that was.
I really would like some more explanation.
Like Kat said, I wish we got more explanation on the experiment. Like, what was the goal? They were taking meds for what? What are they doing with the girl who shot her family?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Does anyone have any other theories about?
No, but look, Janessa shared that there's an hour-long interview with the author.
Yeah.
I need to watch that.
Yeah.
I need her to give me spoilers. I need her to talk about specific plot details.
Yeah.
I need to call her up. Be like, Megan,
Where did this come from?
what's up?
What
Why
does
did
this
the
mean?
girl murder her parents? And what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Was that real? I think it was real. Like,
I think so, too.
I took that as being real for sure.
I think so too, because they send her home after that, right? Because it's just like so traumatizing for her.
Well, she doesn't. They don't know that she remembers it. It's what is it that it's those like different pills that they give her, and she starts acting really weird, and like they think she's hallucinating, and she's like doing really weird stuff, and that's when they walk her around the building. But they're like, she's not going to remember any of this, but she does. But then when they ask her about it, she doesn't say that she does. But that's when they sent her home because she had that weird reaction to the pills, not because she saw that, because they don't know that she remembers.
So yeah, I think it's definitely like that whole section of the book where it's like, this is why it's weird. This is why you categorize this book as weird.
Yeah.
Like, anything else up until this point, it's like, yeah, it could be a sci-fi horror book or whatever. But like this, it's just like, is this real? What is this? Where does it come from? Like, it's just mind-bending.
Yeah. And yeah, it was definitely weird. At the end though, she was like, because in the experiment they made her always rate things 1 to 10. So she was after like, oh, now I was still rate things 1 to 10. I was like, is that not normal? Because I've been doing that my whole life. Like, I always put things on a 1 to 10 scale. Do other people not do that?
Put things on a 1 to 10 scale?
Like 1 to 10 scale, like everything.
I think it is, but I think she's just saying that like feelings and things that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily, or that she didn't ordinarily put on a 1 to 10 scale. Now she was.
I'm just weird then, because
I don't think that's weird. I think it's something she didn't do before.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was like normal. Like I always ask people, I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I categorize
something she didn't do prior to.
Yeah.
See that, and now that's how she views things through that like spectrum.
Yeah, that would be.
Mhm.
She probably wished she didn't remember anything. Those pills didn't work good enough for her.
Mm-mm. It was terrible. It was freaky. So, yeah, like you said before, everything kind of implodes, and then like we're just kind of left to, okay, this is probably going to get figured out because there's this water situation and all this. She finds out that her mom and her grandmother had possibly went through these experiments as well, and then that's about all the information you're given. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It happens really fast. She escapes. Like it happens so fast where it's like, how did she escape? Like it just kind of, it happens very quickly.
Yeah, it does.
Mhm.
And
That's one of the
then,
downsides.
yeah, I don't know. I think that was the only, like, that was like the biggest reason why I wasn't just like, oh my God, I love this. Because I really did enjoy it from beginning to end. Like it was just like so fast paced and there's so much
Right.
going on all the time that it definitely keeps you interested. But then the ending happens, and I'm like, wait, like, what happened? Like, it happens so quick. It's wrapped up so quickly. And then
Yeah, I was wondering that because
there's a
since I
lot
only
that's
have
going
like
on.
since I only have like 60 pages left and really nothing has, we're just seeing all these events and I'm like, man, so I can imagine how quickly she throws everything together.
Yeah, isn't it like a 270-page paper
Yeah,
or something?
277 pages.
That's a short book.
It
That's
is.
really short. The audiobook made it seem kind of longer. Like the audiobook is like, let me check.
It's like 8 hours.
It's 8 hours.
It's long.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
it
listening
is
to the
short.
audiobook.
It's pretty short for an audiobook, I feel like.
I think average is like 9 hours. I'm pretty sure. So it's a little bit less than average.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as far as what they're talking about in the comments of if it was real or not, like we talked about at the beginning, like I don't have any reason to feel like our main character was unreliable from the start. I would venture to say that possibly some of the things that begin happening later on were maybe not real,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was all real. I mean, I don't know. Was someone really following her at the grocery store? Was that a hallucination?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Just things like that.
Maybe like smaller situations, like smaller things that happen.
I mean, I definitely think the overall thing was really happening. I think it's almost more interesting to think of it as having all happen.
Yeah.
And be like, why? Like, and also there was, when they like did the eye color changing drops and like asked her all those questions about like, it made her like go sit at a bar and like ask her all those questions about what it was like to have blue eyes and like did she wish her skin was lighter and all that stuff. Like I thought they were for sure gonna do some, like the point of the experiment was like, they were trying to figure out how to make, darker skinned people light skinned and like
like it was going to be more physical changes and stuff. I thought so too at that point. When I hit that point, I thought that maybe it was going to become more of like physical changes or whatever.
I found that really interesting, honestly, because fun fact, when I was like really little, like I wanted blue eyes. Like I was like, I'm disappointed in my genetics. Like I wanted these blue eyes. And then I don't know why I wanted them so bad. Like now my eyes are really dark. I was looking in the mirror. They're really dark, but I like that. But when I was younger, like I was like, I want blue eyes all the time. So that was really interesting to me. I don't think I would have ended up with blue. I think I could have ended up with green because my dad has green eyes. But
it's funny because I have blue eyes and I always wanted brown eyes too.
Everybody always wants different than what they have.
Yeah, like if you have curly hair, you want straight hair. If you have straight hair, you want curly.
I straightened my hair for years. Like I straightened it up until like May, I think, of 2019.
Wow.
Like all through like middle school, high school. Because when I was younger, my hair was like wavy. Like you could brush it and it was fine. Now if you try and brush my hair, it turned into a puffball real quick. But when I was young, because my dad, who's white, he used to do my hair because my mom would rip my hair out of my head and I would cry. So my dad would do my hair every day before school. He'd put in little pigtails. He would braid it. And then somehow along the way, my hair just changed. And I was like, what is this? I don't know what to do with this. Yeah. And my mom has no patience even for her own hair. So I had nothing to go off of. I was like, okay.
Yeah, everything I've learned about my hair has just been trial and error for 33 years, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the blue eye thing was really weird, but I found it interesting.
Yeah. I almost went, again, it's like they were touching on that, but I wish they'd gone deeper.
Yeah.
Like
Kat
had
said, what was the point?
Yeah, there's not like a commonality to even like guess what they're going for. Monica asked if my eyes are real. Yes, my eyes are real.
And then I think it could have kind of been like a
he pops them in before every video. They're fake.
Yeah.
I think they
I don't
could
have contacts or anything. I typically don't wear glasses when I film videos, like sit down videos, because like the ring light and the reflection in the glasses.
But I think it could have also it could have also been a commentary on like how there's certain features in Black people, like colorism obviously, and then also just like features in general, like the more Eurocentric you look. Like I actually was watching a discussion video last night on Bridgerton and how like all of the people mostly in Bridgerton are light-skinned people, and the darkest skinned person is the villain. Apparently, I haven't watched it, but the darkest skinned person's like the dad who's evil. I don't know, but it's like
I've only seen one episode of Bridgerton, but I was like, I mean, I know Shonda Rhimes like produces it, and it's like, okay, you have a Black family in this show. They're not the main family, but you do have Black characters. And I was thinking, all of these Black people are light skinned. Like I was like,
literally,
none of these people are. I mean,
I've watched
it looks like her whole internet, just like her whole power just went.
Oh,
it does. It looks kind of creepy.
Ooh,
it looks like, because what it seems is her light shot off and then she froze, so her internet probably went out too.
Yeah,
I hate to see that. How is she gonna end the live? We can't do it.
We're gonna be live for
all night.
No, Bridgerton, I literally don't. I don't watch it, and I don't want to.
I've never watched it.
Because in the
first episode, and I was like,
in the book, and it's way worse. But like, apparently, like the characters rapes her husband because he says like no, like stop, like wait, and she doesn't listen to him because I think she like I don't know if she wants to get pregnant.
She wants to get pregnant, I think is what it is.
I was like,
ma'am. And she makes it so that she can. And
not condoning rape, like it literally condones rape, and then like all the people are light skinned.
Are there even Black people in the books, or did they just make it? Okay, they just like made it diverse for TV, but it's all light skinned Black people.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's still diversity, but it's like
and then it's also talking about in that thing, like the video. I want to post on my story, but in the video, it's talking about how like even like Black men in shows are more seen to be like darker skinned because the darker skin you are, the more masculine you are. Because like even light skinned men are like made fun of for being like too like feminine or whatever, and they don't want females to see masculine, so they make them lighter skin usually, or like mixed. Yeah. So a lot of Black women in movies are mixed race.
Yeah. For sure.
We hate to see that. Honestly.
And it's like, of course, there's a place for those people, and it's wonderful to see, but it's like, it's hard not to notice that there's colorism within.
I mean, myself, I'm a mixed race person, so I like seeing mixed race people, but like, I also want to see other people. Oh my gosh, Raine's back. Did your
Raine, what happened? That was creepy.
The power?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the wind is like really, really bad at my house right now. The wind is so bad. And then, the power keeps like flickering. I was so nervous that like the whole stream is, he's doing it. I was so nervous like the whole stream is just going to be going.
StreamYard will keep going no matter what.
It was hella creepy, and it looked like you had a poltergeist.
Yeah, because it went like dark, and then you froze, and we're like,
It was like a disaster. Yeah, I was so scared. I was like, okay, so my internet's gone. Like, what happens to the stream now?
Deja was like, who's going to shut it off? We're going to be.
I was like, this stream will literally keep going until the host ends it. So the stream would have kept going. No, like if your power was out for like 5 hours, it would have kept going.
Whoever's closest would have just had to drive out to Raine's house.
No, none of you are closest.
I know. It would take
You are on the East Coast. So how are you going to help me?
For a few days? I'll drive out there. Give me a day and a half. I'll be like,
Well, what are you
Raine,
going to do? You can't shut it off anyways.
Yeah.
What?
The wind has been really, really bad today. We're
Over
supposed
here,
to get
too.
a huge snowstorm.
Yep, here it's been bad too.
Or tonight.
It snowed yesterday, and literally like my I have like the window open because I'm like, this used to be the attic, so the heat, like when the heat is on, I'm like, it's boiling, like I can't live in this, like I can't live this life, this is not me. So I have the window open and the wind keeps blowing my blinds like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it bothers me because like then they'll be hanging off and I'm like, that doesn't look right to me. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's been windy here too, and we had tornado watches the night before last, and then yesterday the winds were so strong that we can hear them all inside the house. It was crazy.
Yep, it snowed here last night. I went outside at, if you guys saw my story, I was outside at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, because it was snowing. I literally opened the door so slowly. I was like, please don't make the dog bark. Please don't make the dog bark. Please. It was a mess. But I was like.
It was supposed to snow here, and it did not.
All of ours from a couple of days ago, like almost all of it has melted today. But we're supposed to be getting another huge storm tonight. So,
but see, that's why I needed to go out last night because I woke up at 10. Well, okay, actually, like I didn't fully wake up at 10, but I woke up at 10 and I looked outside. The snow was almost melted, and I was like, come on, like I can't get no snow, like. Like there was some of it on other people's lawns, but like our lawn like was almost completely melted, and I was
It's a conspiracy.
Honestly, well, also we have a lot of trees like my house because we're a corner house, so there was no snow on a lot of it anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I was like,
you want to talk about weird? There are cacti in my yard, and I get snow like snow.
Wow.
That's weird.
no, cacti really
right out my front door, and it just gets piles and piles of snow on it.
We need a picture of that.
There's pictures of it on my Instagram.
I gotta go look.
Yeah, those are right out my front door. There's like it's cacti and like yucca trees and things.
No, literally, my dad, he found a cactus or something when we lived in New Jersey. And the cactus was not supposed to survive, like, ever, like, in New Jersey. But he would literally keep it outside, like, literally outside, and it was fine. Once I was walking barefoot outside, and one of the needles came off, and they're, like, this long, and it went into my foot.
Those are no freaking joke. We get a lot.
And he was, like, he had to pull it out all slow.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was horrible.
No, we are off topic.
We are way off topic.
When are we on topic though? Like,
well,
yeah, par for the course.
Yeah.
I am probably gonna hop off here just because I am like so stuffed up.
I really don't want to be like stuck on here. I don't want you guys on here in case my power.
I wasn't trying to make the whole show end or anything.
So,
I was just
no, we could totally finish it. I mean, it's already been like almost 2 hours. So
Yeah, I gotta jump off too.
All of the points that we plan to hit. Did anybody change their rating, or are they?
I think 3.5.
No, I'm the same. 3.
I mean, I don't know the ending yet, so I think I'm like at a 3, but I'll let y'all know on Discord if I change it.
Yeah.
I think I'm still at a 4 based on like I keep thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. I want to sit at a 4 based on like pure enjoyment of it because I didn't get bored. Like it definitely wasn't boring.
It's like a 3 based on the actual book and a 4 based on my enjoyment of the book. If that makes sense.
I agree. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Monica said she wants to recommend the Hollow Places.
Oh, Sarah just read that and gave it 2 stars. I remember seeing that. Oh, she said that. But I saw it on her story.
That on our list. I put that on our list like a while ago. So
it was one of the horror books that was recommended for Goodreads.
I don't want to make everyone like read horror every single month. So like I try to like mix it up with a little bit of everything.
But maybe that'll be later in the year sometime. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. But
I'm
thank you guys
excited
for
next
reading Lakewood with us.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank
I
you.
liked this
Deja.
one a lot. This was one of my faves.
It was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about our lineup. So next month we're going to be reading What Big Teeth
Ah, yes.
Yes.
by Rose Zabato. So that, or Zabo, not Zabato.
Zabo, yeah.
Say
I
Zabato.
looked up how to say it. You just don't say the S.
Zabo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're reading that in February.
Yeah.
And then probably won't have a live show till the first week of March. So you guys have plenty of time. I think the book releases on the 2nd of February. So I know it's kind of like a new release, but we kind of wanted to do a little bit of that every so often.
Right.
Be fun. Books we get excited about.
Order or check your libraries. It does come out on Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't think it's like super long either. So like
It's a YA book, so I don't imagine it's more than probably 300 and something.
And then we're gonna have another. We'll plan that out, figure out what date exactly, but we'll have another one of our reading sprints in the middle of the month as well. So, like,
Y'all, it is 200 pages.
What did I say?
What is it?
226 pages.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I saw it in the store. Wait, I saw it in the store the other day. Like literally, it doesn't even come out right till the 2nd.
No.
It was in my Barnes and Noble. Literally
out like a week before.
2 days. It was in my Barnes and Noble, and it was like it looked like 300 pages, like normal size. So that's kind of interesting.
It says on here, it says hardcover 226.
That's interesting. Like it looked like normal size, so I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I should have bought it, but I was like, I'm spending a lot of money.
I'm gonna see like if my library is gonna get it first. If not, I'll get it.
My sister pre-ordered mine for Christmas, so
Oh, what's that?
she was like, "What can I get you for Christmas? Your wish list is all books," and I was like, "Yeah, well, books."
What does that tell you?
Honestly,
I have an arc.
book.
I have an arc of What Big Teeth, and I'm like dying to jump into it already.
I have an arc of the Echo Wife that I've been putting off.
So excited to read that one as well.
Yeah.
Me too.
So excited. I'm really excited for all the books that we have planned.
Me too.
We'll probably end up announcing the next 3 months, like at the beginning of March. But I don't know. You guys stick around. I don't know. A couple weeks, we'll see you at the reading sprints.
Yeah.
Those will be fun. We got some other games we're gonna try out. It'll be fun.
Well, thanks for having us on, Raine.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. It was fun. I'm so glad, Deja, that you ended up hopping on.
Yeah.
The typing was not it for me. I talked about it a lot.
It was a lot to say.
I don't have a lot of good things to say.
I'm
So
just gonna read everything Deja has to say.
People say I do type really fast though, so I think I was keeping up pretty well.
You were. You really were. It's just my reading is terrible. I just can't read that. I can't multitask very well. I'm terrible.
No, me either.
Thank you guys for reading with us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.